You can finish cleaning the kitchen, walk into another room, notice one dusty surface, and suddenly feel as if the entire house needs your attention again. For many women over 40, the exhausting part of housework is not one difficult cleaning job. It is the hundreds of small jobs that quietly repeat themselves all day. And some of that work is being created by the way your home is set up. These 10 Japanese cleaning rules are really about a simpler question: how can you reduce how often you have to touch, move, wipe, sort, and clean the same things? Some draw directly from documented Japanese ideas around space tidiness and cleaning. Others are Japanese-inspired adaptations, rather than rules, followed by every household in Japan. One starts before you even pick up a cloth. Another challenges the habit of saving everything for one exhausting cleaning session. And the last one may change how you decide whether something needs cleaning at all. Let's begin with the surface right in front of you. Look at your kitchen counter, bathroom vanity, or bedside table before you clean it. How many things have to be picked up before the cloth can even touch the surface? A soap bottle, 3 skincare products, male, a candle, a bowl, a charger, vitamins, a decorative tray holding 6 smaller objects. None of them may look like clutter individually, but every object that lives permanently on a surface creates another tiny cleaning step. You lift it, you wipe underneath it, you wipe around it, then you put it back. And the next time you clean, you repeat the entire sequence. There is a Japanese concept called ma that can be useful here. In Japanese art and design, ma refers to the gap or space between things, the idea that empty space can have value of its own. You do not have to recreate a Japanese interior to borrow that principle. Just stop assuming that every empty part of your counter needs something on it. Instead of asking, how can I organize everything on this counter? Ask, what truly needs to live here? Maybe the coffee machine stays because you use it every morning. Maybe the toaster does not. Maybe 3 bottles need to stay beside the sink instead of 9. Try clearing just one frequently cleaned surface until only the things you actually use there remain. Then wipe it. Notice what changed. You did not learn to clean faster. You removed cleaning movements completely. And that leads to the second rule, because another source of unnecessary work is an action that never quite gets finished. Imagine making tea. You take out the mug, teaspoon, and honey. You finish your drink and walk away. Nothing looks terrible. But 4 objects have just become part of the next cleaning session. The same thing happens after breakfast, opening mail, getting dressed, doing skincare, or preparing something in the kitchen. Small unfinished actions accumulate. By evening, the house can appear to need a major reset when much of what you are seeing is simply a collection of incomplete little actions. Tidying up after yourself has a real connection to daily life in Japan. Children are commonly involved in cleaning and tidying routines from a young age, including cleaning duties in schools. The useful principle for your home is simple. Make putting things back part of the activity itself. When the tea is finished, the spoon goes back. The tea goes back. If you spilled something, wipe it. Then the action is closed. This is not about following yourself around the house obsessively wiping every mark. It is about avoiding a second job later. And after 40, that can be especially useful if your household has changed, but your routines have not. Maybe your kitchen system was built for children rushing through breakfast. Maybe your storage was designed for larger family meals. Maybe your evenings are different now. Your home does not need to keep operating as if the busiest stage of your life is still happening. A 30-second reset can prevent 10 small unfinished actions from waiting for you tonight. But there is a trap here. Clean as you go does not mean everything you notice needs cleaning. Have you ever picked up a cloth to wipe one mark and then continued across everything nearby? The counter, the stove, the cabinet fronts, the appliance handles, the windowsill. Suddenly, a 2-minute job has become 40 minutes. Cleaning can expand simply because once the cloth is in your hand, you begin looking for the next imperfection. So define the target before you start. If there is sauce on the counter, clean the sauce. If the sink needs attention, clean the sink. If one shelf is visibly dusty, deal with that shelf. Then stop. This is not an excuse to ignore hygiene. High-touch surfaces need regular attention, and food contact surfaces require appropriate cleaning, especially after contamination from raw meat or poultry. But many other household surfaces do not need to be treated as emergencies every time you see them. Even current public health guidance distinguishes between high-touch areas that should be cleaned regularly and other surfaces that can be cleaned when visibly dirty or as needed. That distinction matters. Necessary cleaning is one thing. Automatically turning every necessary cleaning job into a whole room inspection is another. And if every small task expands, your house can quietly keep you on duty all day. The fourth rule is hidden inside the products you use. Open your cleaning cabinet. How many bottles require a decision? Kitchen cleaner, bathroom cleaner, glass cleaner, stainless steel cleaner, furniture spray, floor solution, disinfectant, polish, then several cloths for different jobs. A simple cleaning task can begin with several decisions before you even touch the surface. And after the job, everything has to be stored again. The system itself has become part of the work. The answer is not to use one product on every material. Different surfaces can require different care, and cleaning products should always be used according to their labels and the surfaces they are designed for. The simpler approach is to reduce unnecessary choices. Keep the few everyday tools you genuinely reach for easy to recognize and easy to return. Specialized products can stay where they are actually necessary. But your ordinary 5-minute reset should not require a meeting with your cleaning cabinet. For women over 40, removing those tiny repeated decisions may matter more than creating a perfectly organized shelf of products. A beautiful cleaning system that makes you think every time you use it is still maintenance, and maintenance becomes even heavier when you save all of it for one day. There is a real Japanese cleaning tradition called osoji, a thorough cleaning associated with the end of the year. That is an occasional deep clean. It does not mean your everyday home has to feel like one endless deep cleaning project. Yet many of us build our weekly routine exactly that way. I'll do it properly this weekend. So the bathroom waits, the floors wait, the pile waits, the kitchen cabinet waits, and Saturday arrives, carrying 6 cleaning jobs that have mentally followed you around all week. Some jobs genuinely make sense as occasional deeper cleaning. The problem is using the big clean as your primary way of bringing the house back under control. Try separating deep cleaning from everyday resetting. Clear the table after using it. Reset the sink after dinner. Return the living room to a functional state before bed. Not perfectly, just enough that tomorrow does not begin by finishing yesterday. That changes the weight of housework. Instead of repeatedly creating a future appointment with your own home, you close the small loops that actually matter. And now we reach the middle of the list. Because sometimes your cleaning routine is not the main problem. Sometimes you own too many things that require cleaning. Picture a shelf filled with small decorative objects. Every object has to be moved or dusted. Picture 6 throw pillows that have to be shifted every time you clean the sofa. Picture 15 containers in a pantry that have to be rearranged when groceries come home. Picture duplicate appliances sitting on the counter, collecting dust and cooking residue. Every object carries some form of maintenance. Usually it is tiny. That is why it is easy to ignore. One object may add only a few seconds. But dozens of objects create dozens of little actions: lifting, wiping, sorting, protecting, moving, searching and returning. This is where the Japanese appreciation for simplicity becomes useful as inspiration. Before adding another cleaning hack, ask whether some of the maintenance itself can disappear. Choose one high-maintenance area, not your entire house, one shelf, one cabinet, one countertop, and ask about each thing. Is this useful enough to deserve the work it creates? That question can become particularly relevant after 40 because your possessions may still reflect an earlier version of your household. You may still be cleaning serving pieces for dinners you rarely host, an appliance from a hobby you no longer enjoy, decor from a previous home, storage designed for a family routine that no longer exists. Removing one unnecessary object changes almost nothing. Removing 20 can change how an entire area behaves. But there is another form of maintenance that often looks like the solution: more storage. You buy baskets, dividers, bins, trays, small boxes that sit inside larger boxes. For a moment, everything looks beautifully categorized. Until you need something. Now you open a cabinet. Pull out one bin, move another, open a smaller container. Take out the object, then reverse the entire sequence to put it away. The clutter may have disappeared visually. The work did not, and now the containers themselves have to be cleaned and maintained. A simpler storage system asks a different question. How short is the return path? Can you open the drawer, return the object, and close it? Or does putting something away require 4 movements and a small decision? Do not automatically buy another organizer for the drawer that never stays organized. First, remove the things you rarely use. Then see whether the remaining objects become easier to return. Sometimes the best organizer is not another container. It is less inventory. And now we come to one of the most counterintuitive rules on this list. Why are you cleaning the entire room? Suppose you eat breakfast near one side of the kitchen and a few crumbs fall beside the counter. Does that automatically mean every inch of the kitchen floor needs cleaning? Sometimes it might. Often it does not. Yet many cleaning routines are built around complete categories. If you vacuum everything. If you dust the entire room. If you start the bathroom, every surface joins the job. It feels efficient because you are completing a category. But your home is not used evenly. The entryway may receive constant traffic. One part of the kitchen may be used several times every day. A guest room may barely be touched. A practical Japanese-inspired approach is to respond to the way the space is actually being used, instead of automatically turning every local mess into a whole room job. Clean the active zone. Handle the crumbs where the crumbs are. Wipe the area that was used. Then periodically do the larger room when it genuinely needs it. Again, this is not a substitute for proper hygiene in food contact or high-touch areas. It is a way to stop low-use parts of the house from receiving unnecessary attention simply because they happen to be in the same room. And that same idea changes the 9th rule. Let cleaning frequency follow your current life. Maybe you learned that certain things must happen every Saturday. Sheets on one day, floors on another, bathroom on another, dusting every week. Perhaps that schedule once matched your household perfectly. But households change. Maybe fewer people live there now. Maybe you entertain less. Maybe one bedroom is rarely used. Maybe you work from home now and one area receives far more traffic than it did before. A cleaning schedule should support the life happening in the house. The house should not exist to satisfy the schedule. So instead of beginning with, "Is today the day I always clean this?" ask, "What has actually been used?" High-use and high-touch areas may deserve more attention. Other surfaces may need attention when they are visibly dirty or when your own household conditions call for it. Some routines remain important for hygiene and basic upkeep. The point is not to abandon routines. It is to stop assuming that every task deserves the same frequency forever. Your life changes. Your cleaning rhythm is allowed to change with it. And that brings us to the most important rule. Because even the smartest cleaning schedule can keep you working too long if you never decide when the job is finished. Many women can look at a room that is functional, comfortable, and clean enough for normal use and immediately notice the one thing that could still be improved. A streak, a cushion out of place, a fingerprint, dust on one decorative object. And once your attention starts searching for imperfections, cleaning no longer has a natural ending. There is always another thing to notice. So decide what done means before you begin. For the kitchen tonight, maybe done means the dishes are handled. Food preparation surfaces are appropriately cleaned. The sink is reset. The part of the floor that needs attention is clear. Done. Not because nothing else could possibly be polished. Because the room is ready to support the next part of your life. The Japanese concept of ma reminds us that space itself can have value. The practical translation for cleaning is this. You do not need to fill every open moment with another task just because you can see one. Instead of asking, "What else can I clean?" ask, "Is this space functioning well enough now?" If the answer is yes, leave it. A calm home should not be evidence of how many hours you spent maintaining it. It should give some of those hours back to you. If cleaning seems to follow you from morning until evening, you may not need more discipline, a stricter routine, or another complicated organizing system. You may need fewer unnecessary cleaning decisions. Keep frequently cleaned surfaces simpler. Finish small actions while they are happening. Clean the actual problem instead of expanding every task. Make your cleaning tools easier to use. Separate occasional deep cleaning from everyday resets. Remove objects that create more maintenance than value. Simplify storage instead of endlessly organizing it. Clean the zones that were actually used. Let frequency reflect your current household. And most importantly, decide what clean enough means before you begin. You do not have to apply all 10 rules this week. Choose the one place in your home where cleaning feels strangely repetitive. Then ask one question. What am I cleaning here that I could simply stop creating? Sometimes the most effective cleaning habit is not doing a job faster. It is arranging your home so that the job appears less often. And after 40, that may be one of the simplest ways to make home life feel lighter.